YouTube, welcome to the Meta Weekly every single week. This week is with the brand new, very large and in charge ban list that just happened. We have it applied early before it happens in game. And we're going to be starting this off with Unchained against Purrely. By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these videos. Thank you very much. Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
We're going to start this off with an Abomination's Prison. Search on our deck for any Unchained card here. We're going to set the Escape with Unchained, pop it with a Ruha, not using up our normal summon. As the Escape in the graveyard summons a Shayama from the deck, Shayama attempting to pop the Aruha is going to be met with a Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre is not going to negate, but it will destroy the Shayama. Now, we also had a Veiler. So if we want to use Veiler and Ogre, would it work here? How do we use both cards? Well, you chain Ogre to Shayama, then you chain Veiler to your Ogre. The Shayama will be negated on destroying the Aruha. So Aruha will stay on the field and it would not trigger here. And that's something you should learn for something like, let's say you're playing Little Knight. You have Little Knight and Impermanence. If they activate a monster effect, you chain your Little Knight to their monster effect on the field, and then you chain Impermanence to your own Little Knight onto their monster. Their monster will be negated and banished, and they will not resolve with an effect. Aruha being popped, summon from the deck, Rikeya. Shayama in the graveyard, pop Rikeya on field to reborn itself from the grave, triggering the Rikeya to summon from the deck a Shivara. Now, this may be a better use of your Veiler and Impermanence onto a Yama. Yama's going to activate the search from the deck or graveyard as the Shivara Chainlink blocks it from an Ash Blossom. Veiler, negate, just like that, will not be able to search for an Unchained monster, which would have likely been the Sarama to normal summon, since we do have that active normal summon. Shivara setting up the Escape in the back row. Normal summon Drone Lockbird just to get freaking Nibiru'd. Oh my gosh, Nibiru tripping off that entire field here, ending the turn on 0 disruption on field. We got nothing. We do have an Ash Blossom, but beyond the Ash Blossom, the Escape is nothing. Now, something could happen here. If the Primal Being token is destroyed, it has to be destroyed, the Yama in graveyard will reborn an Unchained monster to then be used with the Escape to pop a card in the field and summon from the deck an Abominable Unchained, which will then destroy another card in the field. So if Osher knows how this deck works and avoids destroying the token, that's going to give them 2 additional disruptions if we avoid destroying it. We do not want that to happen. We're going to activate a Sleepy Memory, discard the Ogre, summoning from the deck a Lily. Ash is going to be negating that Lily. Now, even Lily has the power at 100 attack to destroy that token to cause an absolute nightmare by triggering the Yama into multiple disruptions. What do we do? We're doing it. Oh my gosh. What I say? Yama, trigger, in graveyard, banish, reborn from the grave, Rikeya, escaping the Unchained, pop Rikeya, pop the Purrely Nor, trigger Rikeya, summon from the deck, Abominable Unchained, also, wait, you summoned the Disaster from your hand instead of summoning Abominable Unchained and then discard to then pop a back row? That's interesting. Maxi off the top of the deck. We have the Disaster, which is going to link off with the Nibiru into a Soul of Rage. With that, we battle for 1800, then end our turn. Okay, yeah, end our turn, just like that. Back to you. The Soul of Rage could link off with a special summon monster. Now, off the top of our deck, a Triple Tactics Thrust, completely dead. Again, poking for just 1800. We desperately need a monster on the field that's special summon to link off with. Top decking again, another hand trap. We had Maxi into Ash Blossom. We have no Shayama in the graveyard. When Shayama reborns itself from the grave, it returns back in the deck, so it's not there in grave to be reborning by popping. Another 1800, 2 more attacks, and it's done. Finally, we have something. Pretty Memory into a Maxi. We do have Ash Blossom to negate that Maxi, but we're not negating. We're going to allow it. That's fine. We're going to summon a Lily. Lily on summon is going to get fingered from the grave. We're going to finger the in-grave Lily to negate the Lily on field from searching and performing an Xyz summon. We can now, at the end of the main phase, Soul of Rage, link off with that newly special summon Lily or with the Link Kuriboh. No, we did not. Not at the end of the main phase. We're chilling. We're leaving that Link Kuriboh up. Osher now at 3,600 life, going to normal summon a Drone Lockbird to make a play with the Soul of Rage. We're now going to Heavy freaking Storm. Heavy Storm could trigger your own Unchained traps in your back row by wiping them out and then summon monsters from the deck. We're going to Purrely Leap, which returns up to 3 monsters from our grave back in the deck. We're going to grab an Abomination Prison through our Thrust, and now we're going to use Prison to grab our Shavara. Shavara could pop a Fiend or a set card we control as we then make a Soul of Anguish. Soul of Anguish is going to activate, linking off the Linkuriboh into an access code talker. No, Unchained Abomination. Where's our lethal damage, mate? What are you doing? Set a card, pop with Shavara, which will give them an additional draw under Max C. We don't play access code talker. I thought that was a staple. We don't. I don't see it. Nope, it ain't in the extra deck. Just like that, taking a game 1 victory. Nicely done. Lily Imperm negate. That's not going to allow our triple tactics talent to be activatable because we need a monster effect to be activated. So we're going to be relying on that Ash Blossom to negate that, my friend Purrely. Yes, negate. And just like that, we can now, I believe, through desperation, draw 2 instead of looking at the hand. Or we could be happy with Imperm and Ogre. Imperm Ogre is good enough. No, it ain't. We're going to draw 2 instead. Come to us. We do have a quick play spell, so we now can make some plays. Lily from the deck. Lily equipping from the graveyard to make a Happiness. This is not good going first. Happiness turn 1. No bueno. We're making a Linkuriboh. It may just be better to make a Little Knight than pass. I don't know. Little Knight and pass is probably better than this because this is no disruption. We have Imperm, and that's it. Imperm plus Max C. Activate the Max C, cross out Designate, negate that mate, and now we just have Impermanence. Now, the Happiness will trigger the My Friend Purrely to add up to 3 different quick plays in the graveyard back to the hand after it gets destroyed or leaves the field, but beyond that, it's really not going to be doing much. We're going to be popping a Rakea through the effect of the Shavara to summon from the deck a Shayama. Shayama and Shavara are going to link off into a Yama, and this is what I'm expecting the Imperm to negate. Shavara trigger to set a trap from the deck. Imperm negating the Yama. Now, previously in the last duel, this stopped them from making further plays, but with Shayama in the grave and a trap in the back, or we could pop the trap with Shayama, which will then summon a body from the... We're making plays, all right? Get ready. Shayama, activate, pop, escape, summon Shayama, trigger escape, summon from the deck, come forth into Aruha, pop Aruha, pop a back row card, goodbye to my friend Purrely, Aruha, trigger, summon from the deck, Sarama. Sarama could set a card from the graveyard and then pop a card we control. Making our Soul of Anguish, we're going to be linking off with the Linkuriboh into our Unchained Abomination. And as you can see here, had we made a Little Knight, it would have been much better. Triggering the Unchained Abomination to destroy our own Sarama after we set a card, then destroyed the card that was already destroyed this turn, thus it does not activate a summon from the deck, also triggering the Yama to reborn from the grave a Soul of Anguish. Sarama summon for the deck, the Abominable Unchained, 8400, discard, wipe out the Happiness, and just like that, lethal damage with pure Unchained. No Yubel nonsense here. Nicely done. Good job, the Fiend. All right, all right. Super Every Samurai activating the Motorbike to grab a Wakashi from the deck here. Wakashi is going to get ogred. What we have here is we have the Phalanx, which could banish a monster card, not a monster. So monster card means you could banish a Pendulum Scale. You could banish a monster that is currently a trap in the back row. It does not have to be a monster card. And then you have the ability to make a level 12 Synchro, which will be a special summon negate or negate anything. And we have Veiler. And that's going to be triple disruption to play through. We do have Impermanence, but Imperm onto Auxilla is not good. Auxilla is not one of the 3 disruptions, and the Imperm is only activatable while we have no cards in the field. So there's a big trick here. The trick is, it's a huge mind game. We can make Peated Rocks think that we have an evenly match when we don't, just for them to get a monster on the field that we can negate, which would be the Blazar Dragon Mate or the Crimson Dragon. So it's a risk to lose our battle phase, but maybe you say, I end my main phase. Do you do it? Didn't do it. Didn't do it. Didn't do it. We're going to add a Baldrake from the... There you go. Turned off our Imperm. Primera, come to us. And the way that could work by trying to end your main phase is the back row Trudea and the back row Primera are only activatable within the main phase. We are at Chain Link 4, Bestial on Valor action. Valor negating the Primera from searching as the Baldrake attempts to make, what was the big play here? The big play was a Chaos Angel. The Chaos Angel would be unaffected from monster effects and be banishing a card on the field. So by using our own Bestial to banish the Bestial target, we stopped a royal Chaos Angel from being summoned. Nicely done. And at the end of the main phase here, which is what I was saying for us to potentially fake out on an open field, end our main phase, fake out and evenly match, as they would then, they got to trigger the field spell here on the summon of their Primera and Trudea, and then here's when we could have used our impermanence. But as we already saw from this turn, we did not need to even imperm this and be disrupted enough to not even be able to make a play. They didn't even have to phalanx. So in this instance, it is better that we held on to our impermanence instead of making the bigger brain play. Come forth and Shokan into Cosmic Blazar Dragon. Negate anything. And we have a Synchro Rumble, which could reborn from the graveyard a tuner material. We're going to set up a Primera through the effect of the Auxilia. Phalanx is going to attempt to banish the Blazar Dragon. Blazar Dragon's going to banish itself instead to dodge the Phalanx, so it will come back within the end phase. What else we have here? We have Primera from the back row into Baldrake. Baldrake banished Trudea from the opponent's graveyard, but we don't have a field spell. With no field spell, we can't trigger on summon a Baldrake to make our Chaos Angel. We're going to imperm, attempt to negate Primera, but we can Phalanx to banish our own Primera, but instead we're banishing Baldrake. Sure. Okay. Primera gets negated. We didn't care about the search that much, but we still chose to chain our Phalanx to the imperm. As we now stand up Centurion, discard the Synchro Rumble to set up a Trudea. Trudea special summon to Shokan into our Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon continually recycling itself by returning itself back in the extra deck to now make a red Supernova Dragon, resulting in a quick and swift surrender. Nicely done. We have Super Heavy Samurai Centurion versus Centurion Bestial. Emblema Oath setting up the field spell into our spell and trap zone here. Of course, where else would the field spell be going? As we then discard an Ogre, setting up Primera. Primera special summon, activate Primera, not going to Gamma. We're going to hold on to the Gamma as we activate Maxi, as the Primera was already special summoned. This is really interesting. If you were to Maxi the activation of Primera to special, and then the opponent has a, let's say, a Gamma of their own, you could then Gamma their Gamma or Ash their Gamma. So quite interesting use of the Maxi. And as I already said, Light Breeze plays well against Maxi. This is not a problem. Now, playing well against Maxi means that this Ogre is not a Super Heavy Samurai. It's a hand trap. The more non-engine you play in your deck that's hand traps, that means you could end your turn against a Maxi and still have a reasonable amount of disruptions to play against your opponent without giving them too many hand draws, as you're not special summoning. So with this, we have the Ogre, a Phalanx, and a level 12 Synchro. We have triple disruption plus a Call to the Grave. Normal summon Primera. And when you finger their Primera, you will be fingering yourself, so you do got to be careful about that. We're going to chain Trudea to the field spell, chain Maxi to it. Do we finger that Maxi? Of course we do. Negate. I don't think so, mate. Now, Ogre could be good against the field spell, but right now it's not. Why is that? It's because the field spell says it cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects while you control a Centurion monster card. So what you could do is not right now in the activation, but if the other effect, they discard a card from the hand, you will want to chain Ogre. Why? It's indestructible. You then chain Phalanx onto the Primera, thus the protection of the field spell is gone. So no Primera, no protection, it gets popped, they discard, they lose the duel, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing here. Or we could just make a Legatia. Legatia pop Primera, we don't even have to Phalanx the Primera. We don't even have to. So by popping that Primera, we lose out on the protection. But now the Gamma can negate Ogre, actually. This is a situation where otherwise the Gamma could not have negated the Ogre had we not destroyed Primera and instead chained the Phalanx to our own Ogre. That's kind of weird that this turned out to be a worse play than using Phalanx. As we now make an Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon activating to Reborn from the graveyard. Nothing, because we're going to banish that Gamma, stopping them from summoning a Baron Deflor. We still have that Phalanx activatable. Trudea special summon itself in the back row. Trudea activating to... Now, this is important to understand the ruling here. If you wait, you have to be thinking here. Trudea's on the field. It's an open game state. Do I activate Phalanx onto the Trudea in response to its summon, or do I wait for it to activate? Because we do not want Trudea to set up a Centurion card from the deck into the back row, which it may do even if we chain to its effect that's not negating. We're just banishing it while it's read the Trudea. You're going to place one card, place this card you control and a Centurion from your hand or deck into your back row. Because it says and, it does not say also. It would say place this card you control, also a Centurion card from your hand or deck. That's where chaining the banishment onto Trudea would not stop it from sending a card. Because it says and, it's not going to happen. It's got to do both. It ain't doing both, so it's gone. No Centurion card in the back row. So the perfect use of Phalanx and understanding a small ruling like that could really be the tide that turns the duel, because otherwise they could summon another Trudea, activate that Trudea because you banished the other one earlier. Begin. Huh? Wait, what just happened? Peated Rocks passed with no play. Benki's not a play. Benki requires there to be a Super Heavy Samurai on the field, as this is a pendulum scale to search our deck for a Super Heavy Samurai. Instead, we got double Bestial and an Ash Blossom. Is that good enough? Let's see. We're going to Bestial Lubellion, not negate with the Ash. Do not let your opponent eat your Ash. You want to save it for the perfect moment, and Primera, I believe, is that moment. There you go. Let the Primera eat the Ash. Negates. Now we have double Bestial follow-up. We're going to Centurion Primera into Artemis. Magna Hut, banish our own Primera. We're going to disallow that Bestial from being summoned. Now I'm going to use the Centurion Bonds to disallow your Bestial from being summoned. So I can't summon my Bestial. You can't summon your Bestial. And we're ending on an Artemis? Well, I mean, our hand's pretty damn good. Better than yours, I'd say. We have Valor, Max C, Ash Blossom, Magna Hut. Let's go. Bro, Peter Rocks, what's wrong with your deck? It's bricking. Banish Lubellion. Now, why didn't we stop this Magna Hut from being summoned? We did so last turn. We can't because it's not a quick effect unless the opponent controls a monster with your Bestial. Battle we go. Wipe out the Artemis. One of the biggest downsides of having a ton of hand traps is if your opponent just beats you down through some large monsters like Bestials. So if he's able to flood the field with a bunch of Bestials and just beat you down, your Valor, your Ashes, they're going to be no good. We're going to be chaining a Maxi to the summon of this Baldrake here. I do not think so. Again, using our Bestial to stop your Bestial from being summoned. And Maxi just drew into another Maxi, which is not very good at the moment. We're going to add another Druistorm. This is Bestial Beatdown. Peated Rocks is so effectively controlling the duel with just Bestials. We're now normal summoning our hand trap into an Almirage for a Little Knight play, I believe, because Little Knight only banishes if we use an extra deck monster for its summon. There you go. Little Knight on summon will only be able to deal with just one of the Bestials. What happens next turn when they simply just go to the battle phase? Well, we're going to tribute off our Magna Hut to banish the Little Knight, so that will... Ooh, that's something. We were about to permanently banish the Baldrake, but now we're going to temporarily banish it so it does come back, but that was in being able to protect our Little Knight from also being permanently banished. So if I save their Baldrake, I also save my Little Knight. They both will come back. Magna Hut. We can't use Druiswarm to make the Magna Hut not summonable since they do not have a monster on the field to make it a quick effect. We cannot attack directly because of the Little Knight. This is back and forth, the Bestial Wars. Now, it's important to note, Druiswarm is unlimited, which was the previous ban list than the one that we're playing by in today's event. Baldrake beatdown, wipe out that Little Knight without activating any card effect whatsoever. And what did I say? We needed a Super Heavy Samurai to be on the field to activate the Benki to search our deck. And now we got that Soul Piercer, but we are under the effect of Max C. Soul Piercer, equip onto the Wakashi, end our turn. We're not going to make any plays. Both mad lads, back and forth Bestial beatdown. If we take out this Wakashi, can Ash Blossom negate the Soul Piercer searching? No, it cannot. It's a damage step search. Can damage step searches be negated? Well, a Ghost Spell could negate something in the damage step because it negates the activation, not the effect. The Ash is only negate the effect. We also could not finger in the damage step. We are now, instead of fingering the motorbike, we are going to Ash Blossom, negate that motorbike from searching for a super heavy samurai, which is much needed for our Benki to search our deck. What is going on this? Turn freaking 8. I can't believe this. We're going to Bestial Lubellion, Reborn from the Graveyard, Tribute off the Magna Hut, set up the Regained. We're just beating down. Regular old classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Beatdown. Peated Rock setting a freaking Max C. So why was Max C not really prevalent back when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! More than 10 years ago? This is why. What? You're setting Max C because it's not that good. Back in the day, there weren't big turn 1, turn 2 plays. So we didn't want this trash in our deck. Get it out of here. All right, Peated Rocks off the top of the deck. We got something. We're now going to search, but then we're going to get fingered. Now, it's not a light or dark, so the Regain cannot return it back to then draw a card here. Unfortunately, we lose out on that draw. Gee, why is the dog getting excited? Excited. Jesus. Emblema Oath is here, setting up into our back or our field zone, our stand-up Centurion. Turn 12, stand-up Centurion, discard Gargoyle, set up a Primera, activate special summon. Finally, we could make some use out of our Max C. Now, at 3,200 life, we got to go for it, right? But how can we go for it if they now have 2 Bestials in their hand? So how much do we go for it, further giving them more plays to make next turn and possibly even more hand traps? How do we guarantee that 3,200 damage through double Bestial? Grab a Trudea, we have not normal summoned yet. We thought this was going for it. We went for it. Bestial, there you go. Not one, but both Bestials are being summoned, and we should not have tried to summon both at the same time. We should have waited. This is what you do with the Centurion cards in the back row. You don't activate both of them in the same chain because then you get Max C. You activate one, they hold Max C, you let it summon, then you activate the other, then they Max C, so they draw one less card. And the same thing applies to this Bestial scenario. Now, within the battle phase, the stand-up Centurion triggers if either player summons a monster. It's not just you. You summoned, so I trigger the stand-up Centurion within my own battle phase. Pack Bit is going to, I believe it discards a card. Yeah, you're going to discard a card. We're going to Ogre Destroy the Baldrake, as the Pack Bit was attempting to put your monster into the back row. And because you summoned an extra deck monster, the Baldrake does get to banish your Pack Bit. Pack Bit out of here, discard the Emblema Oath. We still have to discard. And then the Jerusalem being sent to the graveyard triggers a Sent to Lubellion. What the heck just happened? We're now turn 13, both players barely making any big plays here. Got Scales, finally. We are now cooking. On summon, Reborn the motorbike, use the effective Benki, grab a Peacemaker. The motorbike's going to change its level to level 4 to then make a Scarecrow. Scarecrow could discard a card, but first going to equip with the Peacemaker. Peacemaker tribute off the Scarecrow, so we're not discarding a Reborn. Summon from the deck a Wakashi, as we now excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. On summon, activate Reborn, Wakashi trigger, set itself into the back row. Can we Pendulum summon a driver onto the field for game? We're going to Emblema Oath into the back row, Primera. Sure. Primera, summon itself before we get negated by something like a Baron de Flor, grab a Trudea. This is not a form of disruption. But the Baron de Flor can trigger the Regained. By triggering the Regained, do we even have a Bestial in the graveyard? We just didn't even try to activate it. Wait. How do we not have a Bestial in the grave to summon? All our Bestials are banished or just gone. We didn't even have anything from the grave. Had we had a Bestial from the graveyard to Reborn, that could have triggered the field spell to make our own Chaos Angel to then banish a card in the field. Now, this Chaos Angel is full protection. All of your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and all your synchros are unaffected by monster effects. Damn, turn 13! You gotta remember, the player who won this duel passed turn 1 with 0 plays, open field, no play whatsoever. And it wasn't because they got max seed, they just bricked. This is not a negate. We need another fire monster mate. So we have a dead Arvata, dead Maxi because stun does not special summon. And Call by the Grave, stun is not going to be doing much against that. The Imperm is actually good though. This is something. But there's an evenly match. The battle phase we go. End of the battle phase, banishing everything but the dead Arvata. Morganite is now activated. We're going to draw 2 cards every single turn. We're drawing an additional card during our draw phase. We're going to banish 6. Look at the barrier statues. We got the water. We got the earth. What else do we got? Grandmaju. We got Solemn Judgment, which can negate a normal summon, special summon, spell, or trap card activation. Crackdown will steal the Arvata. Avatar, that is, the Arvata, I should say. As you swing in, crack down it up. It is now mine. Now, with the Crackdown Stolen Monster, it cannot attack, also cannot activate. Draw 2, got Gizmek Orochi. Banish 8 cards off the top of the deck. We could have summoned it during the battle phase, but our own barrier statue is disallowing us from summoning it since we're locked in a water monster only. Setting Effect Veiler, dead 1 for 1, dead Nibiru, draw into 2, activate Pada E. Let's speed this up. Stun is alive and well, even with the new Banlist. We're going to tribute summon with the Gizmek Orochi because the Morganite allows a double summon. So let's speed this up again. We now cannot interact with the graveyard. We cannot banish or move a card from either player's graveyard. Core tier is here at 800 attack, 2000 defense, so the Orochi will simply attack over it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, any card sent to the grave that's a monster is banished. Solemn Judgment to negate anything. Solemn Strike to negate a special summon or an effect that would special summon or just a monster effect. Get stunning. Hey, there are your statues, but we are going second, so stun inherently should not be good going second. What are stun deck players doing when they're going second? Let's see the stun deck type breakdown here. For go second, they have evenly match. Some of them have super poly, so you got to be careful about having multiple of the same attribute on the field. Now, Snake Eye Fire King sometimes likes to end on the field with an Ambler Whale plus an Arvata, which gets blown the F out by a super poly. So be very careful about not setting up those 2 cards on the field against a deck that plays super poly. What else we have here? Super poly, evenly match, Harpy Feather Duster, Raigeki possibly. You know, they don't really have that great of a turn 2, so this should be an easy win, yes? If we could just establish big bodies on the field, we don't need any other forms of disruption. That's it, 3,000 attack? How are they gonna deal with that? Well, Moon Mirror Shield is going to gain enough to take out the Flameburst, thus we have the ability to use our Skyburn. Skyburn is gonna be wiping out that monster. It just like that, stun's defeated. We're good, we're great. We're special summoning, we're no longer locked down. The Moon Mirror Shield would have been boosting us up to 3,100 attack. Crackdown could steal the Flameburst. Solemn Judgment could also negate something. But we should be able to play through this, right? Link Rebo, we don't Solemn Judgment that. Wanted Seeker, grab Diablo Star. We're going to further link this up into Nightmare Phoenix. We could Solemn Judgment this before it activates. We didn't. Pop the Solemn Judgment, sure. I'm out of here. No thank you. Into the next duel. But now stun is going first. Alrighty. We have that evenly match, which we didn't have for game 2. Morganite, draw 2 every turn instead of just draw 1. Oh, there's Super Poly also. We talked about Super Poly, evenly match. We got both in Tupac's deck. Now, only Earth monsters can be special summoned. So we got a normal summon beatdown. Normal summoning Poplar over the Arvata. That's because we have the Subversion to push the barrier statue into the back row. But after pushing it back, we have no special summon plays afterward. Where's Diablo Star? Nothing, nowhere to be seen. Draw 2. Now we're gonna summon the Luna. Luna on summon will attempt to search our deck for another Luna. And the Luna's gonna have the quick effect to target a face-up monster your opponent controls. And then you're going to return it back to the hand, right? Grand Maju, 4,000 attack as we have a double summon play. Poplar equip itself into the back row. 10 cards banished thanks to the desires, so gain 400 per banished card. Solemn Judgment's going to be able to negate a normal summon or special summon. That's the normal summon. We will negate the Courtier. Now, Courtier will activate a summon from the deck, right? Courtier activates summon Garunix. Garunix is here in defense at 1,700. The Grandma Jew, we don't even need that to attack over it. We could just use the Fairy Tale Luna 1850. The game's already over. That's it. Wait, no, it's not. If you destroy us by battle, we have the other effect, the secret effect of when destroyed by battle, summon from the deck a Fire King monster. Now, the Sacred Fire King Garunix is going to get poppin'. We got the plays. We got the ways. Let's go. We're going to pop from the deck a Kieran. Kieran's going to reborn from the graveyard or summon from the hand Arvata, pop in the Grandma Jew, but within the battle phase, we're going to discard a Super Poly U into a Moo Dragon. This is not game, right? We don't have game if we do the other Super Poly? Okay, we didn't have another Super Poly play. Just like that, 950 life, blink in red. We have Solemn Strike, which will negate a monster effect and destroy. We got no plays. 950 life. This is it. Now, if this were an Ash Blossom, that'd be great. You kill the Ash Blossom, that triggers the Garunix from the graveyard to reborn to then get wiping. We have Pot of E, banishing the extra deck into a Raigeki. Moo Dragon declaring light. Light monsters are completely untargetable, and just like that, Maxi on the attack. Cross out Designate to negate Nibiru, mate. Lethal damage with stun. Oh, we're not done. Cover the Grave also fingering that Grandma Jew. Finally, as our final play goes through, lethal damage with our Moo Dragon. Super Poly in stun. That is scary. They now have more room for it because their other cards got limited. So they now play more barrier statues, and they're more likely than not now also playing Super Poly, in addition to evenly matched. Squirmer popping the Chaos Summoning Beast, or not, we're just special summoning because that would not make sense, as we now make a Yama. Yama search our deck for Shavara. We're now going to Squirmer, Reborn the Chaos Summoning Beast, and then pop it with Shavara. This is, of course, not ideal, but we're doing the best we could do with a Soul of Rage and an Escape. It's not so bad. Escape, pop a card, Soul of Rage, link off with a special summon, Little Knight banish on summon, Little Knight banish again. We got Super Poly, we have Impermanence, we also have Max C. So without counting Max C, this is about 6 disruptions. A lot of it's super conditional, but let's see what we can do. Foolish Burial Goods, send from the deck, Triva Karma. Now, we're abiding by the new ban list. So what are you searching? Because it cannot be the field spell. What? Right? We're not banning him for not abiding by the tournament rules. We got Heartbeat instead. Okay, let's go. Heartbeat, goodbye to the Impermanence. We're now down to 5 disruption. Spinning it back on the deck. Rainbow Bridge will be searching for... what field spell? Kashtira field spell, because the tier limit 1 is banned. We're going to grab a Fenrir here. Special summon Fenrir. Now we're going to use Escape to pop it right away. Take it out. There goes one of our disruptions. We're now down to 4. Soul of Rage and Yama triggering. Now we can't finger the Yama because it banished itself by cost. So we could instead finger the intended card you know that they want to summon. Now we're going to be chaining Max C to the Called by the Grave here, sure, to let them know what they could have actually fingered. The Yama already committed to its activation, thus the added back to hand Shavara must be special summoned or another fiend. So we're going to be special summoning the Chaos Summoning Beast instead. The Soul of Rage did not activate to add back. Well, okay, we fingered Soul of Rage, so the Shavara does not add back anyway, so that effect is completely negated. But also, it was the intended monster to be summoned. Sure. No plays. No plays against a Super Poly and a Forbidden Droplet, ending on just the Chaos Summoning Beast and defense. And now we are not looking good as the King Sarcophagus is summoning the Horus from the graveyard. Why didn't we chain Call by the Grave to the I'm Seti reborning from the grave? Well, it doesn't activate in grave, it just summons. So you have to finger it on the resolution of the King Sark, and I believe through the current dual settings, you're defaulted to auto, and with auto, you cannot finger the I'm Seti unless you have toggled on. Toggle on, I believe, is the only way to finger the I'm Seti before it's summoned. Goodbye to the Chaos Summoning Beast. Let's get to it, let's do it. Off the top of our deck, no D-Lotus, no field spell. This is not looking good for Yubel. Off the top of the deck, we have a Max C. I guess we have no other Horus cards to be summoning, or maybe we just don't want to discard the Max C or Ash Blossom, just keep it in the hand. We finally have a Spirit of Yubel, which will be summonable during the battle phase on that declared attack. we're going to tier cash. Banish from the graveyard a tier limit card on summon, mill 3 cards off the top of our deck, triggering the effect of the Shadow Beast to draw a card. We're going to negate draw 1? That's quite desperate, is it not? Not allowing the draw 1, banish you, and on the field here, 5,700 damage. To battle we go. Come forth, Spirit of Yubel, chain Maxi to that Spirit of Yubel, which, I mean, we're just drawing 1 card here. And now we're in an interesting situation. We just talked about this ruling earlier with the Forbidden Droplet. Do you have to have the attack and then negate? Well, no, it's also. So because it's also, even though you're not reducing the attack of the Spirit of Yubel, you still negate it, but negating a Spirit of Yubel, it's no longer indestructible by battle, but it still has the destruction effect in grave to summon from the deck another monster that cannot be destroyed by battle. So what do? First, we're going to Ash the Spirit of Yubel, sure. We're going to chain Super Poly, discard the Ash Blossom to fuse with the field. Use it all up, all 3 of you to the graveyard, come forth, the Loving Defender. We, of course, cannot dodge the Ash Blossom, so we are negated, but we now have a Loving Defender. Loving Defender, if we battle into a monster, we're going to be banishing it and dealing damage equal to its attack. Burn for a simple 1,500 damage here. Now, again, the Forbidden Droplet's going to out it, and it's actually better that there's a Loving Defender on the field instead of a Spirit of Yubel, because when Loving Defender is destroyed by battle, while it's negated by the Droplet, it's not going to trigger to summon a Yubel from the deck. Had we kept our Spirit of Yubel in the field and waited for the Yubel to summon afterward to just hold on to our Super Poly, I think that possibly would have been the better play. We still are going to be burning because we battled. There you go. Burn for 2,300 and banish the Kick Kalos, which is absolutely absurd that that activates even after being negated by a Droplet because it activates at the end of the damage step. What the hell is that? We have Zombie Vampire. Mill 4 cards off of both players' decks, summoning from our own graveyard. We're going to be summoning our Sharon, mill an additional 3. Unfortunately, not triggering any fusion summons here. Now, we can't summon Rukalos because the tier Kick Kalos is banished. What we need to do is randomly have a tier limit Crime Trap be sent to the graveyard, which then it would trigger to return the Kick Kalos back to the extra deck. Now, what we wanted to do here in the main phase, we needed to summon a Phantom of Yubel. So knowing that, we have from the Keldo player, Keldo in the standby phase activating to return back the Spirit of Yubel and the Ultimate Nightmare, disallowing them from summoning that Phantom of Yubel. Again, toggle on. Toggle on is very important. Let's go. We are going to Ash negate that Maxi, mate. Very well done. Is Lab not better than Tenpai? We could search Roar and Daruma. You know, it will be interesting. As I was saying, Lab may be a really good answer to Tenpai because Tenpai players may not be able to put in all the board breakers they want to help break up the back row. I don't know if they can afford to play Lightning Storms, Harpy Feather Duster, and Heavy Storm because the chance of them randomly going first, they're not going to be so good first. We already saw in today's event where Ancient Gears, Earl GB, essentially went first, and going first with his turn 2 deck, he's got Dark Hole, he's got Raigeki. That does nothing going first, and then we lose. Double Imperm plus a Phantom of Yubel. Can we play through it? Red Reboot? Yeah, I think that Red Reboot will be good in Tenpai, definitely. Phantom of Yubel, negating the I'm Seti, a great negate, but then we get fingered, mate. On that negate, we get to search our deck and draw an additional card, which is why you definitely want to be ashing that I'm Seti. Fingers the main counter to Phantom of Yubel. Now remember, Phantom of Yubel is only at 2 in today's event. So now one of the Phantoms are banished, but the field spell could return it back into the extra deck if you want. I'm Seti Reborn, Imperm onto the I'm Seti. What does that do? What does that do? Why? Are we just like scooping? What does Imperm onto I'm Seti do? Nothing. It doesn't do anything. Okay, we're going to negate the Zombie Vampire, sure. And then Zeus it up. Zeus is now here with the ability to send the entire field to the graveyard. We are in big trouble. Oh my gosh. We bricked. Shavara off the top of the deck. Ain't no freaking way. We're going to add an I'm Seti here. Return back the Ash Blossom. Discard I'm Seti. Send another I'm Seti. Reborn the I'm Seti. 6,000 damage. It just like that. Lethal damage. Had we not wasted the Imperm, we still lost. Well, yeah, we still lost. What are we going to do? Pop our own Imperm to summon a Shavara, and we could Zeus send the Shavara, or I guess you'd wait until they summon the Seti. It maybe could have bought us another turn potentially. We were just screwed. 2-0 victory. Let's keep on going. Alrighty, let's get to it. We're going to start this off with the Saphira. Searching our deck for a Sarvis. Bro, Jaugen is banned. No. Rentos, chill. No Jaugen. We are summoning, sending from the deck, an Albaz to make a Mirror Jade. There you go. That's it. We're not taking out the Anaconda. What are our disruptions? Woo, Heavy Storm. Negate anything with the Skull Guardian. Non-target monster banish. Sarvis, which will be able to negate a special summon through the Ritual Sarvis. And then we have the Radiance, which will be able to pop up to 2 cards on the field. We have about 4 disruptions against a hardcore turn 2 deck. Are you ready? Begin. Max C in the draw phase. We're going to Heavy Storm it up. Skull Guardian, negate. We now have triple tactics talent, mates. Get ready for that. As we follow up the thrust first, instead, we're going to chain Sarvis to summon our special summon of a ritual monster, which will be the Sarvis Ritual. To negate an inherent special summon. This will not be able to negate any fusion summons unless it's a contact fusion. It will be able to negate a very important card, which would be something like the Ballista. We now know we can't summon Ballista with that Sarvis on field. We're going to grab from the deck our Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm going for the back row. We just lost another disruption. Triple Tactics Talent, plus the Urgent Scheduler. We're drawing 2, we're not taking control. We're gonna Chalice negate the Mirror Jade. And now, that we're going to negate the negate. I don't think so, mates. We still have our double disruption here. Mirror Jade non-target monster banish, and the Sarvis inherent special summon negates. From this is where we would summon Ballista. This is what the Sarvis would be negating. All right, these monsters that are summoned are not activate. Well, they're activatable. They are just negated themselves. Non-target monster banish. We're now down to our inherent negates. It wasn't enough. Even through Heavy Storm, Thrust, Triple Tactics Talent, Lightning Storm off of the Thrust, it wasn't enough. It simply was not enough. Let's get blasting and bopping. Lethal damage just like that. If Frost Dracony was playing Raigeki, I think maybe that would have been better than Lightning Storm, right? Raigeki, they're monsters. The ritual spell in the graveyard would trigger to summon probably another Sarvis. So it would have at least dealt with the Mirror Jade. The Sarvis in hand negating the Chalice was a big play. And what happens when we lose going for a second in game 1? We choose to go second again because we are go second Chads. Santa Claus is here. The statue requires the opponent's control monster to special summon it, and then it summons your main combo starter from the deck. Ancient Gear Fusion could fuse with your deck if you have an Ancient Gear Golem on the field. So let's speed this up. The statue can be negated by the Call by the Grave, so I will count that as a disruption versus this hand. We also have the Radiance, pop multiple cards in the field, which will be just 1 here. We also have a negate of anything, and we have a Mirror Jade non-target monster banish, so about 4 disruptions, one of them being the Finger against a turn 2 deck. Are you ready? Let's go. Goodbye to Mirror Jade through the Santa Claus. Summon the Wyvern. Wyvern is going to be negated through the Skull Guardian. Negate. We're now down to just Radiance and the Finger. Special summon the statue. Statue tribute off. Summon into nothing as the Finger fingers our statue. We still have the Trap. The Trap could still pop a card on the field, and we're out of plays pretty much, right? We're going to Ancient Gear Fusion with our hand. Ancient Gear Fuse with our hand. Fusing into a Howitzer. Howitzer's unaffected by all card effects. And then if it's destroyed, you could special summon an Ancient Gear from the deck. So we destroy it by battle by swinging in. In the damage step, we're going to come forth and summon our Ancient Gear Dark Golem. Ancient Gear Dark Golem in the damage step, so this is not ashable, searching for the advance and a Gear Town. So we possibly still have some plays here, as the advance is going to get popped by the Radiance. Damn. We have no plays. That's it. Turn 2 deck, get wiped out by Mirror Jade in the end phase. Santa Claus also giving the opponent a draw because, you know, you're supposed to win that turn. You give them a Santa Claus. And yep, that is enough to lose. Lethal damage, just like that. Voiceless Voice defeating a turn 2 deck. Could Tenpai have defeated Voiceless Voice in this match? We'll find out this week on Thursday. Tenpai will be tier 1, not tier 0. We're going to Circular Send Sigma from the deck. Veiler, negate that Circular from searching for a Mathmech spell and trap. Very well done. As we now Sigma and Circular into the Allenbert for our Impermanence to negate the Allenbert. We have not committed to a normal summon yet. So what we really are trying to stop them from doing is searching for a Diameter since it's limited to 1. Because there's no way they'd have it in their hand after you negate the Allenbert. It did require both disruptions to stop them from setting up the Super Factorial, which would have been a major issue in itself. But we have Imperm, we have Call by the Grave, I'm not going to count that as a disruption. We have the Terahertz, which is built-in double disruption. We have the Deceive Worm negating, and the Terahertz will send a card from the action next to the grave, which will be able to... Wait, you don't have the Aggregator? You have Packbit. Send Packbit, which is a form of disruption. So we have triple disruption. Maybe Heat Soul draws into another one. Let's go. Nope. So can we play through 3? Spirit Gates, which is semi-limited. Deceive Worm. Now, does the Spirit Gates go to the graveyard on a Deceive Worm negating the card? Well, it negates the activation, but it does not destroy. But by negating the activation of the card and not the effect of the card, it goes to the grave. Negates. Nicely done. And now I can triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent. We're going to try to take control. We're going to use the Terahertz to send to the graveyard a Packbit. Now, Packbit could put the Terahertz into the back row. Is that what we're doing? Yep. Discard the Defensor, put the stolen Terahertz into our own back row. Thank you very much. Set Super Poly and pass. We need there to be 2 monsters with the same attribute generally to even use our Super Poly. So we got 2 light monsters right now. Do we use it or do we wait? Circular Search in our deck for a Super Factorial. We're going to Super Poly right here, right now. Send to the graveyard Diameter and Circular for our Garura. Can we still inflict lethal damage here? Sigma, Reborn from the graveyard. Further link this up into a G Golem, Reborn from the graveyard. Transcode Talker, Transcode Reborn the Splash Mage Reborn the Diameter. To battle we go. We have double attack with that Transcode Talker, but I believe it could only attack into monsters. Nope, it could attack directly. And we only have 1 attack if we activate a Circular. Well, every co-linked monster is untargetable, but we have an evenly matched with no Deceive Worm to save us from this evenly matched. Ain't no way. And we don't have room to activate the Super Factorial to then turn on something like Diameter to be able to negate something like that evenly match. So everything gets banished, but the Super Factorial. We're going to triple Tactics Thrust. Even though we can't add the card to the hand, we're still going to negate it from setting it into the back row. Generally, an open field activation of Thrust is just set in Impermanence. Gee, are we good? Are we spilling water everywhere? Yes, there's water everywhere now. We have Signet Mining on that open field. Discard the Small World, searching for our Circular. Circular has no more Mathmechs to send from the decks to the grave. Wow, how sad. What is this? He's out of juice. Mathmech's out of juice. There's no way. We have the Dark Beckoning Beast. Veiler, negate that Dark Beckoning Beast. We still have Super Factorial, which will not be able to reborn a Diameter since I believe it is banished, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, indeed it is. As we now make a Now Mirage. Sure, end the turn. Now, let's read the Super Factorial here. We have a Loplation and Super Factorial. This has to target 3 Mathmechs with different names, up to 3, and then you could special summon them and then immediately synchro. No, we don't want that. We want to exceed using only those monsters. So can we summon a Laplacian? We can't, because we only have 2 different Mathmechs in the graveyard to be able to make the Laplacian with. It has to be 3 different names. That's why the Super Factorial is just doing nothing. Get swinging, 600 life. We don't even have another Atlenbert. Set a Grave Squirmer, sure. And to bat, this is ridiculous. You really just can't do anything, huh? Wow, Almirage triggering off of a monster being destroyed, reborning itself from the graveyard. Shuffle them. Can we just not use them during, can you just special summon them attack? Special summon them, then you have to sync or exceed with them. So it's just not even activatable. This is wild. Little Knight on summon, attempting to banish the impermanence. Negate the Little Knight, sure. When Mathmech runs out of juice, that's it. They don't have any other plays big enough to wipe out that circular, as we are slightly bigger than that circular. Circular not being another Mathmech with a different name. We have 5 cards left in the extra deck. Not going to even summon the Firewall Defensor. This is so pathetic for Mathmech. I cannot believe Mathmech has no freaking plays back to back to back, cannot freaking do anything as they're completely out of juice. A dead Super Factorial? You gotta be kidding me. Let's speed this up. They're just done. They're done. It's over. Reflect 1800. Oh my gosh. What can we do? We can now attempt to make nothing, because we're going to banish the monster that the Exceed needs to summon to where it's pointing to, as our final play is attempting to make an access code talker, which we now can't do. Self-inflicted, the next best thing to do alongside surrendering. Wow. Mathmech does not have good recursion. There's no good recycling. Ran out of freaking juice. That's wild. Mathmech should have won that. Small Worlds, we're going to be banishing a Dotscaper, hard grabbing our Ash Blossom. This is why you want to chain Maxi to a Small World in case that happens. Troll in Lock Bird. We cannot add cards from the deck to our hand for the rest of this turn, as we're going to Reborn the Sigma, which would have triggered the Circular. That does not work. Now, I'm kind of unfamiliar with how this card's going to work. Is this going to be a disruption? If a link is on the field or in either graveyard, special summon this, so we're not doing that. Can only do this if a link 2 you control is sent to the graveyard or banished. You could banish this card from your graveyard or hand to then target one card your opponent controls, return to the hand. So if something happens to one of these links, the Meow Mine will return a card. Return a card back to the hand. We have Ash, we have Deceive Worm, we have Packbit, and Heat Soul may draw into a hand trap. It did not. So about 4 disruption under Droll. Got the Throne, Ash Blossom, negate. Cross out Designate, negate. The negate, Deceive Worm, negate. The negate negating the negate. Negate. And we now have Triple Tactics Talent. Off of the Triple Tactics Talent, we can take control, look at the hand, or draw 2. We're going for that draw 2. Come to me. Set the Chaos Summoning Beast to now fuse with the Terahertz to go into the Mood Dragon. We now just have, I guess we got a Meow Mind off of that if we wanted to. Sure. We are Heat Solid. Synap Mine and discard Meow Mine. Activate Heat Soul, draw a card. We have Call by the Grave for that Maxi. Let's speed up what is inevitably going to be a 1-turn kill, as it should be. Let's go. Circular Send Addition, chain Maxi, chain the Call by to finger that Maxi. Let's get to it. As we now have multiplication, searching for our Super Factorial, likely not going to be needed. We're now making Alenbert. We already used up our normal summon, so diameter's not going to be good. We have Equation instead to Reborn from the grave, Reborn back in the field Circular. And remember, we can only attack with 1 monster because of Circular's effect. Reborn the Transcode Talker, Reborn the Splash Mage, Reborning another card, further going into that Access Code Talker, Access Code Talker is going to be boosting as we use the Meow Mine to also return the field spell back to the hand. Huh? What? You can only attack with Access Code Talker, and you gave them back the field spell. Am I missing something? This is not game. Huh? What? We thought we were returning the Moo Dragon. I think that's why we did that. We thought we were returning Moo Dragon. Now, in the TCG, that would just be an illegal play. I activate target Moo Dragon, and then we go, you can't target. Okay, I can't make you target my field spell. It was an illegal activation. Judge, yep. But in Master Duel, you had to target the field spell. Heat Soul, draw a card. Maybe this was BM. We just wanted to give them another chance. Ash, negate, then we have Super Factorial on the normal summon of the D-Lotus, or we could send it to the grave right here, right now. Let's go. Damn. Another TCG play is they just made it legal. Even though you know that you can only attack with one monster because of Circular, in the TCG, in the battle phase, you could ask your opponent if they would like to surrender. You don't say you're attacking with everything. It's the implication. It's like, you see this field? Would you like to surrender? But don't push it. That's illegal. Don't pretend like you're attacking. All right, 1-1. Veiler onto D-Lotus. We're not going to even finger that Veiler. What's a better showcase of you using a hand trap incorrectly than your opponent having a negate for the hand trap and not using it? I think that was the case there. We did not care about the D-Lotus negate. And I would generally say you should not be Veilering a D-Lotus. We're going to be banishing the Drone Lock. There's like, what, 4, 5, maybe 6 different ways to still activate the D-Lotus after it gets negated. We're going to special summon the Squirmer, pop the Terra Incarnate, and this is normally not played. The ultimate freaking nightmare. You know, the smallest thing, I was just thinking like within the metas, what were some other ways people are cheating? People are cheating with the Dragon Rulers. So I'd say Gia. When they summon the Dragon Ruler with the baby Dragon Ruler, they can't declare an attack, but they will try to. And then I would tell Gia that if they try to declare an attack with the Dragon Ruler, and you say you can't declare an attack, and they go okay and still make plays, I told Gia, they are now in main phase 2. They're not in main phase 1. You hear me? That you call them on that. Is that fair? Is that rule sharking? I feel like the opponent tries to cheat by entering the battle phase, declaring an illegal attack, and then they can't do it, right? You know, at a local and it's like a friendly duel, sure, but against stuff like that, if I think the opponent's cheating, hell no. You just lost your battle phase. It's fair, right? Fair? All right, Sarvis get popping. Come forth and summon. Well, people were, you know, I think it was, is it rule sharking a Runic player if they don't declare the battle phase? And then you say that you forgot to declare battle phase to be skipped last turn, so now your next turn's battle phase is skipped. I believe initially at the first YCS with Runic, the head judge, they ruled that you didn't have to declare battle phase to skip it. That you could just silently end your turn with no mention of your battle phase being skipped or trying to enter it to then skip it, and that it would still be skipped. You know, of course I don't agree with that because that's not correct rules. Now, just like that, Gaze has surrendered. Good job to both of you. Thank you very much. Let's hop into another match. Seeker gets searching for Diablo Star. Was that, we were just watching Punisher. It's the... wait, no. They know. They know what they did. They know. You don't even got to tell them. You just say judge. Negate the hydrant. Emergency. Dodge the Veiler on the hydrant. Come to me. Let's get to it. Let's do it. How can you play around the emergency? You could Veiler the hydrant early. If you Veiler the hydrant before it activates, then they can't use the emergency to dodge it. Also, if you Veiler the hydrant early, they then can't just normal summon a monster, which would then make the hydrant untargetable. So that's something you do want to think about. We have flip face down, we have pop, we have negates, we then have triple monster negates. We're at 6 disruption plus the in-hand Ash Blossom. That's 7 disruption plus a called by the grave. What can we do? Can we play through 7? Probably not. I still have the background music going. I'm so sorry about that. We have Ash Blossom negating. We're going to finger that Ash Blossom, negate, as the effect of Nightmare Pain will not be Ash now. We're going to be popping the Spirit of Yubel to search our deck for a Yubel. Yubel card, that is. We got the Squirmer. Now, the Spirit of Yubel could trigger, which the Apollo can negate, or we could finger it, right? We have a Call by the Grave still in our back, or we do. As we use Gamma to negate the Apollo USA, and it's actually going to go through, so we're going to finger the Spirit of Yubel instead. So just like that, with the Apollo negated and destroyed, since we didn't make it with the Masquerena, otherwise it would have stayed on the field if we made it with the Masquerena. Now we just have Contain to negate, Extinguish to destroy, and a Preventer to flip face down. We have 3 disruption left when we had 7. Well, we actually used the Call by the Grave as a disruption, so we had 8. We're going to use Impulse to chain to a monster effect in the field to summon from the deck. So can we play through triple disruption? Well, the biggest downside of Rescue Ace is all of our effects generally, the more important ones, they target. And the Sprite Alpha is now making wherever it's pointing to untargetable. We couldn't pop the Squirmer, we couldn't contain it, making an Almirage here. And now we're going to be making an untargetable Little Knight. With the untargetable Little Knight, we're going to take out one of the back row cards possibly, right? We're going for the Extinguish. Extinguish the Sprite Elf. Chain the Little Knight to dodge the Extinguish. And now we're left with Contain and Preventer, which is more than enough. We are fine. Yep, end our turn. Back in the field, Elf and Little Knight. This is no good. This is not enough to do anything. Let's speed on through this. Hydrant, search for Turbulence, for the Shokan into Hida. Preventer trigger, Reborn, a banished monster, Lifter searching for the Rescue Ace HQ, return 4 cards banished and or in the grave back in the deck to draw 1. We have Hida, Steal Almirage, Little Knight says, I don't think so, you gotta summon to where it's pointing to. We are going to negate the Little Knight so it does summon to where we're pointing to, making it Promethean Princess, Promethean, Reborn from the grave, Zealantis, 1 turn kill, GG, as we hop into game number 2. Now, what is going on here? We have a ton of disruption. We have Link with a special summon into a Little Knight Banish, into a Little Knight Banish, into a Monster Negate, Monster Negate, Monster Negate, Monster Negate, 7 disruption plus an escape, pop a card in the field, 8 disruption, but we have 18 cards in our hand. This should be exciting. Are you ready? 18 cards versus 8 disruption. Let's count it down. Wanted Seeker into a Diablo Star. Discard Diablo Star to summon Diablo Star. You can't negate that effect. It's an inherent special summon. We're going to Original Sinful. Send Diablo Star to summon from the deck into a Hydrant. We're going to trigger the Fire Engine. We're going to Apollo Negates. Now down to 7 disruptions left. I don't know. What do y'all think? Can Yubel do this? Airlifter into an Alert. Wanted Seeker. Draw a card by returning back into the deck our Original Sinful. Hydrant, activating to search. We're going to Elf, Reborn from the graveyard, which is not a disruption. Airlifter, chain to the Elf. We're going to Apollo negate. The Airlifter wants to summon a monster from the hand. We're going to chain another Max C. Do we negate the Max C? No, we don't. So we have 6 disruptions left. And with 6 disruptions, we have already used up our normal summon. We drawing, we searching for an Impulse and drawing into an Impulse. Impulse is going to be chaining to a monster effect in the field to summon a monster from the deck. Apollo is going to negate. Apollo now down to 0 negates. We have 5 disruption left. We have Pop, Link, Lil Knight, and Phantom of Yubel. Banished to summon Turbulence, which the summon could have been negated by Phantom of Yubel. we're gonna use Escape. Escape's gonna pop the Turbulence. We're now down to 4 Disruption. Preventer, Banish Turbulence, come forth and summon. As we now use our Unchained Soul of Rage to link off with Preventer, we are gonna link off and then we're going to Phantom of Yubel, negate the Preventer from flipping face down the Phantom of Yubel. So we're now down to 2 Disruption left. We're gonna chain Emergency and Call by the Grave to finger the Phantom of Yubel and use Emergency to dodge the link of the Soul of Rage. And if we dodge the link of Soul of Rage, then we do not summon a Little Knight. Our 2 other disruptions are now 0 disruptions left. We have nothing. Well, can we win now? Come forward, summon Turbulence through the effect of the Preventer being sent to the grave. Set up into the back row. Just 3 cards. Hydrant allowing the rescue to steal the Yama out of the opponent's graveyard. As we further make a Link Kiribo. As we now make a Nightmare Phoenix on summon, discard a card, get poppin'. We're gonna discard Gamma to take out that Nightmare Pain. Further showconning into a Promethean Princess. Promethean is going to be reborning the Turbulence. To battle we go. Take out the Soul of Rage. Soul of Rage triggering to add back the Phantom of Yubel into the extra deck, as we can only play 2 copies because it's post-Banlist. We couldn't lethal damage? Oh my gosh, 3,500 life. Hida in the main phase too. Stealing, attempt to steal the Hida. Now that you cleared our entire field of monsters, we have Gamma activatable, activating to negate and destroy the Hida mates. You thought you were in the clear, setting us to 0 disruption here, but the Gamma was our follow-up play. Turbulence activating as we discard in the end phase 5 cards for having too many in our hand. We're going to trigger the Poplar, set a Hydrant in the back row. Now, Hydrant in the back row is considered controlling a Hydrant. Thus, you gain all the additional abilities on your alert to search your deck, contain, they can't use the extra deck, and extinguish, disallowing the activation of that monster name for the rest of the turn. Damn. We have here Ash, flip down, negate, and pop. We have 4 disruptions. Can Yubel play through 4 disrupt? We're gonna grab the Dark Beckoning. Now, the Phantom of Yubel is currently fingered, right? It's negated, I believe so, if I'm remembering correctly. We fingered that Phantom of Yubel. Grab the Chaos Summoning Beast. The Dark Beckoning allows an additional summon while it's face up and not negated. We're going to Ash negate the Nightmare Throne. Negate, sure. And if we contain the Dark Beckoning, it can't be used for an Almirage. You can't do it. It would just be stuck on the field because we have a Hydrant on field. Now making a Muckraker. Muckraker is going to target a fiend in the graveyard, discard 2, reborn that D-Lotus. We're now going to summon a Preventer, or we will not because the Ash will negate. So now our ability to summon Preventer is gone, right? There's no way to do it. Or Impulse could still summon it. We could kind of still have it. Containing the D-Lotus. D-Lotus cannot activate its effect. Well, it can, so just negate it, and it cannot be used to link or seize or do anything. We have Promethean Princess, which was another form of disruption I did not count, as we also chain and extinguish. We're going to use Promethean to pop the D-Lotus as we extinguish the Spirit of Yubel. We're going to use Muckraker to protect our Spirit of Yubel from being destroyed. Now, Extinguish states, I believe you have to destroy the monster, and then only after destroying the monster are you not allowed to activate that monster for the rest of the turn. Let's read it. So you're going to target, you're going to destroy it, and then. So if something says then, you completely disregard everything after then. No matter what it says, if it says then, the first part has to happen. Was it destroyed? It wasn't, so then means nothing. We're going to now flip up the Nightmare Pain. Nightmare Pain, pop in the Spirit of Yubel, and we still have Impulse into summon Preventer from the deck if we still have one in the deck. How many Preventers do we have in Grave? We have one Preventer. We should be playing another Preventer, right? Preventer's played at least at 2, I would think, in Rescue Ace, right? So we just need them to activate a monster effect in the field. 27 is the perfect number for Yubel, because 27, not 26, 27 is when you could use just 3 Yubels to reflect the damage for game. Attack 1, attack 2, we're gonna alert, add back Preventer in Grave. Attack number 2, and just because, as I said, at 2,700, the perfect amount of attack to give Yubel 3 attacks for self-reflecting game. Holy moly. We had, what, 18 cards in our hand and we couldn't break 8 disruption and go for lethal? crazy. Begin. Now, what are our disruptions? We have Promethean, we have Flip Face Down, we have Destroy and Negate. We have about 4 disruptions for Yubel to play through. Let's go. Our hand was 3 Yubels and a finger? Yeah, all right, you got me. Let's go. Turn 2 deck? Wait. Turn 2 Rescue Ace, we got Change of Hearts in the main deck? Huh? Versus turn 2 Sky Striker? What is going on? We have these pseudo-Tenpai players in today's event. Imperm, Negate the Magician's Souls, attempting to draw 2. Had it been an Ash Blossom, we could have fingered that Ash and then draw 2. So we are devastated as we then set 3 and pass with our 0-attack Magician's Souls. We're going to Bonfire it up, searching for a Poplar from our deck, trigger the Poplar, activate to summon itself onto the field, triggering to search our deck for nothing as the Droplet negates the Poplar from searching for the original Sinful, which would then summon a Hydrant from the deck. Now, with that, are we in trouble? We're going to follow up with an Impulse, making a Linkuriboh. And Impulse and Linkuriboh will be making something like, not a Hida, since there's nothing to Reborn. We make a Little Knight. Little Knight on summon, activate to banish a back row card, going for that Widow Anchor. We want Widow Anchor in the grave. We do not want it banished. So, of course, we are going to negate and take control. Unfortunately, we don't have something like Droplet to send it to the graveyard onto another monster that there would be on the field. So we have to give it back as, wait a second, Sky Striker, Snake Eye, Flameburge? Huh? Magician's Soul, Sky Striker cards with Flameburge. Sure. We're not fingering the Poplar. We're just going to allow that to happen, grabbing the original Sinful. Original Sinful, send Poplar, summon for the deck a Hydrant. Hydrant, activate, search our deck for the Airlifter. Airlifter, lift off, searching for the Alert. Alert, search our deck for the Preventer. Link this all off into a Nightmare Phoenix. On summon, discard the Change of Heart. Go for the Call by the Grave. Call by the Grave, finger the Hydrant, then scoop, because we know that is definitely not good enough. Let's hop into game number 2, where Abelmouse should choose to go second again, right? I would think so. Hydrant, of course, Sky Striker chose to go second. Linkuriboh, as we now prevent or banish. Let's speed this up since we are a turn 2 deck. Let me take a sip. Thanks for the exploit. Yeah, I mean, if you want to exploit yourself, it's a lot of effort. I mean, downloading the game a bunch of times and then adding yourself. Chicken game. We're going to be drawing a card. Let's get to it. Get the triple tactics thrust. We're going to Widow Anchor, attempt to preemptively negate that Little Knight, and we're just going to jump off the field. I don't think so. We are out of here. Now, beyond that, what can we do? We're going to be playing against a Maxi, Ash, Nibiru, and Impermanence. This is so much. Original Sinful Send, Chain the Ash, not even the Maxi. We're holding on to the C. Let's go. Play Ranked in Scarlet and Violet. That's something I would maybe like to do, but I don't want to be breeding. I just have the good Pokemon right away. Which I think they let you rent the Pokemon. I think so. Engage, searching our deck, come to me, Widow Anchor, plus draw an additional card if we have 3 spells in the grave, which of course we do. Divine Incarnate, a great turn 2 card. So this is just Snake Eye turn 2. It's not actually Sky Striker. We're going to be summoning onto the field a token through the Hornet Drones, linking it off into Kagari. Kagari on summon, add from the graveyard, nothing is the Imperm, does not negate. Oh my gosh. We're going to Shark Cannon, steal the Linkuriboh from the opponent's graveyard, further link this up into a Hida. Hida steal the Ash Preventer from the opponent's graveyard as the Max C now changed to that to be drawing per special summon. We're negating our own effect of special summon. I don't want you to draw off a special summon, so I negate my own effect of special summon. That's wild. We're now going to engage, grab another Widow Anchor, plus draw an additional card here. We are at 5 summons, and when do we Nibiru? Add Poplar, trigger Poplar, under Maxi, draw another Imperm, into a Subversion. Do we Nibiru now? No, we wait. Wow, keep on special summoning. Link, Karibo, keep on going. We're going to keep on drawing. Equipping the back row, Ash and Poplar summon a Flameburge. If we Nibiru this, the Flameburge will summon up to 2 monsters from the grave. We now have Promethean Princess. Mouse, you better have lethal, boy. As we imperm negate Promethean from reborning from the grave. This is not looking good for Mouse. Taking the Max Seed challenge, and I do not see lethal coming. We're going to push the Preventer in the back row, which just turned off Impermanence. That Imperm now cannot be used onto the Access Code Talker, but we can Nibiru it. Target Promethean. We're going to get boosted up to 5,300. And we are now going to Reborn Ash and Poplar. As we have 6,800, still not enough for game as the Nibiru just tributes off that field. We've seen enough. Now Triple Tactics Thrust into a Change of Heart. You summon Nibiru in attack position. We can now use it against you, but we're going to link it off anyway into a Nightmare Phoenix. Yeah. Oh, well, we tried. We're a turn 2 deck. We got Max Seed. We did the best we could do. Mouse, thank you for getting top 16. Unfortunately, Max C is just too much for you. Thank you, YouTube, for watching the top 16. We are now advancing into the top 8, and we have a great match coming up. This is Stun versus Unfreaking Chained. Not the Yubel Unchained, pure Unchained versus Toxic Stun, post-Banlist with Jaugen banned and Fossil Dyna limited to 1. Let's go.